So I was just thinking about how sometimes, you know that verse, like, we make our plans, but he directs our steps. Sometimes we have this idea of what we think something's going to look like. Even if it's just, say, the day. You have all these things planned, or you're making plans, for the day, or you've already had it planned ahead of time. You have it on your schedule or whatever. And then all of a sudden, this thing and that thing and this thing and that thing happens. And it's like all these other things start happening. And it's not looking anything like what you thought it was going to look like. It could get discouraging. Maybe you could get fearful that it ain't going to happen, or you're just going to, just be down or whatever. But you know what? I just say, yeah, you're going to have those emotions and those feelings or whatever. And that's just probably normal to do. But if that's something that maybe you're experiencing today, like I am right now, it's like everything that me and my husband, have planned out for today. We haven't been anywhere in a while, as a family, and we had a little bit of extra money, so we decided to ahead of time book a room to go stay at a hotel so we could go and see my nephew perform. And it would just be a fun little, family getaway. It's only an hour and a half away, but for us with a baby and a toddler, it's a whole trip, so for us it's like we're all getting out as family, go do something. And we've been so focused on running our business and just life in general, my husband working and taking care of the kids, and she's homeschooling. So to get away, we're really excited about it. And my husband, he's gonna sell his dad's RV. His dad passed away about 9 months ago, and part of his job was to, distribute the assets and sell them and all that stuff, and that was a part of it. Well, he was supposed to meet with the guy yesterday. The guy was flying out from Virginia, and he was supposed to meet with him, and they were gonna just make a quick, swap out, and he was gonna be on his way and then come home last night, and I was just gonna meet him out there and take him home. Well, instead, the guy's flight got delayed, and the guy flew into Dallas and didn't realize that, where we live is not real close to Dallas, and that he was going to have to Uber, maybe figure out how he was going to get a hotel for the night, and just a lot of things. So me and the kids were there. We didn't know what time exactly. We just, by what he had told us, we thought it would be around 5, and here it was like 7:30, and at that point, he was just going to get a hotel, and they were going to just try to talk about figuring out how he was going to pay for it the next day by bank. So me and the kids, and granted, I left the house in a rush because I was thinking I was just coming to go get my husband and then go back home. I didn't even grab my diaper bag. I realized I didn't have it with me, and my son had a number 2, and he was screaming, and Hannah's so bored, and just all this, and the weekends are really precious to us because we're always working on the business and stuff like that. So like when we have time like that, we're always like get as much time as we can with Tom, with my husband, and just, value that time. And, he's tired and he wanted to get home, get a shower and all that, but, it wasn't going as planned. And, it may not seem like a big deal to anyone else, but for him, like, to me, I was like, even with the kids and all that, I don't know, I just was like, it's gonna be okay, it's gonna be fine. And normally I may be the one freaking out, but I was fine, and he was the one that was kind of, but I know what was going on, like, underlying, he's dealing with just the thought of, this is like one of those final things that he's doing for his dad's, stuff to close everything up is gonna be, to sell that RV. And that RV was just filled of memories, filled with, his dad retired from the Air Force, and he would drive that back and forth to his sons, which is our house, and his daughters. We live in Texas, and then his daughter lives in California. His dad lived in Utah, and so he would go from different states or whatever, just to visit the kids. And if ever we went on vacation, he would always drive his RV out and follow us, and he would go on vacation with us wherever we went every year. We go to Branson, Missouri a few times. We went to Florida. We went to Oklahoma, Broken Bow. Just lots of memories. We have adult kids, and those kids have so many memories with that RV. And then, anyways, it just was a lot of memories that I think was just running through his mind, and he was experiencing, and that was really kind of underlying maybe most of his frustration, because all this stuff wasn't going as planned. And granted, he's going to use some of the money to help pay for bills that we need paid, and money's been really tight for him recently. His car broke down for the second time, and it was expensive on the last fix. And his job has been kind of I don't want to say unsteady, but he's had a lot of days through the holidays that that his boss would say he didn't have work for him, and he would just have to go home. And so that's why he's really been working really hard on the business. Well, anyways, all of that to say that I don't even know how it's going to go, because here's today in the morning, the guy's starting to say, well, I don't know if he wants to back out. He doesn't know if it's what he thought it was going to be. And my husband's not trying to pull a fast one on him. He's literally just took pictures of it and said as is. He didn't want to have to deal with anything other than just sell it as it is. And we know it's an attack from the enemy for sure, but he had to kind of go through that this morning, even though he thought this morning it would just be taken care of real quick, and then we could get ready and to go on our little family trip. And honestly, I think my husband would really appreciate that time away right now with family right now. I think he would really appreciate that. But I think more than anything right now, like, he's having to lean on God. And so, like, this wasn't something we even could see. We could not see this when we booked that hotel. We couldn't see that this was going to happen that way. We had no idea it was going to happen that way. But God did. And it's like he said to me yesterday, he's like, I don't understand. I don't understand why everything just keeps happening to us. It just keeps happening to us over and over and over, and all these things. And I was like, I know, honey. I said, I actually kind of had a thought like that, like, why can't it just be like so nice and just like trouble-free life, and just, and I had all those same kind of thoughts like what he was thinking. And I turned around and looked at the verse on my TV, because I'll play Dappy T Keys, and it's like scripture playing, and I just play that all day long. It's so good. Just let that meditate day and night in your heart all day. And he always speaks to me through it, and he says, my grace is sufficient, and my power is made strong in your weakness. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, if we had just this carefree life where nothing ever went wrong, nothing ever was a struggle, how could we possibly know how good he was in the midst of that? Like, he's not just the God of the mountain, he's also the God of the valley. And I recently just, I'm a designer. I make designs, and that's what our business is that we're starting up. Is I make designs, and it's like God just keeps downloading all these things in me, and I'm making them as designs. And I'm also an art. I could say I'm an artist. Never really said that before, but I see myself as that. And I like to paint, and I like to watercolor now. It's a new thing. And I just have all these like things that I feel like God is like downloading in me that I need to get out. I need to express it out in some way like that. And I feel like that's going to be maybe how he has me do it. But anyways, I've been going through like a really deep struggle. That's something between me and God that I've been really pressing hard in and trusting him when it just didn't make no sense at all. And in the middle of it, he's showing me how good he is, even in the deepest valley. And if you look at the mountain, now granted, I don't live near mountains. It's flat as a pancake out here. So I may have this wrong, but my understanding of mountains is that where it's growing and thriving is in the valley. Like in the mountain, yes, when you get to the top, at that peak, you get that beautiful view. Like, it's breathtaking, and you can't, you're in awe, right? But, most of the time you're not on that mountain peak for very long. It's very short. The journey is up the mountain and down the mountain and through the valley and then back up the mountain, and then you got this peak. You get these peak moments, right? And obviously we're, praising God with everything when those peak moments come. And you could just see everything so, from this like bird's perspective, right? But in the valley, you can't see all that. All you could see is this big tall mountain in front of you. But in the valley, God is the God of the valley. He is the lily of the valley. These beautiful flowers that are lilies growing, and not just growing, and thriving in the valley. Okay, and so it made me think about like one of my designs about winter and how you thrive. You can thrive in the winter in Jesus, in Christ. That no matter what you're facing, no matter what you're experiencing, no matter how fearful it is, no matter how hard it is, no matter how deep the struggle is, whether you're experiencing depression, or you're suffering through pain or sickness or loss, grief, shame, guilt, whatever it is. By the way, the liar is an enemy. The enemy is a liar, and the liar is an enemy. same thing. But in Christ, your shame and your guilt is gone. Okay? I'm going to always say that, because that is the truth. But it's so much even more awesome than just that, too, is that he is who he says he is. I remember this song, and I used to take this back road that I'm taking right now, and it says, and I would go down it when I was really struggling with shame and guilt, and it was like, you are who you say you are. And that is the truth. He is exactly who he says he is. He says, he never promised that we're not going to have trouble. He never promised that we're going to have just this perfect, easy life. But he did promise us that he was going to be with us, and that we will not be burned, and that the water will not overtake us, and that the weapons that are formed against you are not going to prosper. That he is going to give you his peace that surpasses all understanding. That he is going to cover you with his wings. That he is going to fill you with his love. And he is going to be near you when you're brokenhearted. And he's going to save your crushed spirit. And so when I think about some of the deep valleys that I have been walking through, and these little things that used to get me, all the littlest things, I can't say that they don't ever, and I still struggle with that, but just, I feel like he's helped my perspective today in this struggle to help me remember, okay, look, this is nothing. I've got you, okay? Remember I had you, I held you in the palm of my hand. You are in the palm of my hand. I'm holding you in the palm of my hand, and I love you, and I am never going to let you go. That is my nail-scarred hand, and he loves you, and he cares about what you're going through. He hears your prayers. And I literally just got through watercoloring a hand of God like this, and sharing some of the stuff that I'm saying, because he's bringing it back to my memory, because I know there's somebody out there that is not knowing where to go, can't see what's ahead. Granted, we can't see what's ahead, but we know that he's going before us. He has already gone before us. And there is nothing that you're facing right now that he cannot, in your weakness, prove his strength through you. That his power will not rest on you. And it's like, a long time ago, my sister passed away when I was 17. Before she passed away, she was sick with juvenile diabetes, so we always knew, that it's a possibility, that she could pass away, because we were told that when she was diagnosed, that she could possibly, a third of her life would be knocked off, is what they said. Well, at the time, I used to be like, man, I think I would go crazy if I lost my sister. I wouldn't be able to handle it. I'd go crazy. I would lose it. I wouldn't be able to handle it. But that was before we were in the moment that we actually did lose her. And when we actually lost her, that's when the grace covered us, and I didn't go crazy because of him. Because his power rested so strongly on us, and his comfort rained down on us like grace. And I can't explain it. And I know for a second I almost was like gonna go in that mindset of why God and get mad. But he could have handled that too. If I would have done that, he would have handled that too. He would have loved me through it all. But I just decided to trust that, there was a reason, and that he was still good. And so I never held anything against him when that happened. And I just know that he's with you today, and he loves you, and he wants you to know that. And by me recording this video, it's not by chance. And so I hope this finds you today and gives you comfort, whether it's a small little things that keep hitting at you all day long, or if it's your deepest valley you've ever walked through. It is never gonna be too hard for him, and he will show himself faithful. Promises made, promises kept. One on my shirt. He keeps his promises, and his promise is to be with you, to never leave you nor forsake you, and to give you his comfort and his peace and his strength. And I pray that over you today, that you will feel that, and that he will lift your spirit, and that he will lift you up above the circumstances that you're in, and hold you up on his shoulders, and that you get that mountaintop view even though you're in the valley, and you can see all those beautiful flowers, lilies, and